Good afternoon, guys. Today we are talking about the proofs about lines and angles. And so, as I may or may not have told you, there will be a proofs lesson, just like there's a constructions lesson in every single unit. And so, today we're going to be able to prove that lines are parallel, or we're going to be able to prove statements about angles. Okay, so if we look at this notes section, we're going to compare and contrast what it looks like to prove that lines are, or that angles, statements about angles, like in this case, angle 1 is congruent to angle 8, and versus what it looks like to prove that lines are parallel because of angle relationships. So in one case, we're proving that because lines are parallel, the angle relationship exists. Or in proof 2, because the angle relationship exists, the lines are parallel. So when you're given that you're dealing with parallel lines and you need to prove that an angle relationship exists, the strategy that you're usually going to use is to use the given parallel lines. That's what you're writing in this box. Use the given parallel lines to state congruent corresponding angles. In this case, congruent corresponding angles, but sometimes you'll have alternate interior, you'll have alternate exterior, or you'll have supplementary consecutive interior, right? So in this example, angles 1 and 3 and angles 6 and 8 are, of course, corresponding, and then use vertical angles, okay? So you're going to state corresponding angles are congruent, and then you're going to use what you know about vertical angles, and then use the transitive property. Let's see exactly how that's done. So we're writing this proof, right? So in this case, we are trying to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. So the statement we have here, 1B is parallel to C, and we know that because that's given. And then angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And that's true because corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. And since we know that lines are parallel, we can make this little parallel symbol here. And since we know that lines are parallel, then of course 1 and 3 are congruent. Because of that, right, again, the proof is supposed to flow. So every single statement is a derivative or is derived from the previous. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 8. Well, angle 3 and angle 8 are vertical angles. And by that, angle 1 is congruent to angle 8 because of the transitive property. So if you remember the transitive property, the transitive property states that if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C, right? So if the first thing we start with is equal to the second thing, and the second thing is equal to the third thing, then the first thing is equal to the third thing. That's how the transitive property works. So the first thing is equal to the second is equal to the third, and so the first is equal to the third, or the last thing, okay? That's part 1. I'm going to put up part 2 in a couple seconds, so please make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of the video, okay? So there's 2 of them, so that we can go over this proof, and we're going to also work on the try it out proofs together in the back. All right, bye.